say living life is free, I'll have to deny, 'cause every day I pay the price.
Is food too good? If you ever eat a good burger, ice cream, hot dogs, wings, just all that good stuff, right? It's so delicious. And it's kind of freaky when you eat it. If you sit back for 3 seconds and just don't put it into your pie hole, you kind of ask yourself, wow, like, how did we get to this, you know? Therefore, welcome to the complicated and kind of simple podcast. I'm here today, again, with another video, another podcast. I am happy to present you this new topic. I will say this one's a little weird, and because it's not actually the topic inherently, but I wasn't thinking of it all week. You know, usually I have a process where I'll think of an idea through the week. I'll go really ponder it, and then by the time I have to post or get down to business on actually structuring it, it'll be pretty already made in my head, you know, pretty structured. And this week that didn't really happen because the topics that I was thinking of before just they weren't able to be done in 10 minutes, or better said, I wasn't able to do them in 10 minutes. I don't feel like I could have done them justice. And I don't mind reviewing topics. That is something I'm going to do. But what I do mind is just redoing topics, you know? Because if I feel that I can't even do it justice the first time, then I should just probably wait. So I do have them in a journal. And I am going to go do them. But not yet. Plus, I'm excited to talk about today's topic, food. You know, it is amazing to me. I go out and I'm a foodie. I love just tasting new flavors. I love just experiencing new things or trying to make it better. I love cooking. Food is just such a comfort to me. And I really attribute that to my mother, right? My mother was the one that all my life she knows how to cook, you know, and I'm jealous because I want to get to her cooking skills. But if you want to talk about soul food, you want to talk about food where people put their heart and soul into it, what my mom does, like, I taste it in every bite. And, you know, there's something about her just smiling and satisfaction knowing that I am just so grateful and happy to have a hot meal in front of me. It's the best. And it's kind of that connection from my mother to me with food that made me love food so much, because it's like, wow, it's like art. I can really just give this to someone and they'll really enjoy it, or to myself and I'll really enjoy it either way. And it's interesting to me because it kind of stems back to, like, how do we get here, you know? You can go to the store right now. You can get, like, burgers, pizza, bread, hot dogs, peanut butter, cereal, milk. You can get wings. You can get all these crazy foods. And it makes you start to wonder, is, like, what we're eating too good, you know? Did we cheat the system? Are we already going against nature, you know? Because we started from what? We started from killing animals and eating little grubs and little things. And I understand we haven't gotten too much off of that. You know, we still eat animals and plants and stuff. But we used to have to eat, like, rocks and, like, raw meat and just food that probably didn't taste very good and maybe wasn't even as nutritious. But that can be argued today. And then once we started cooking it, it just changed the game, right? We go from eating raw food and rocks to, like, eventually one day someone put some salt on it, you know? Someone put some seasonings on it, you know? And then after that, now we have, like, actual cooks. We have people that are, like, specifically all day, like, what do? They provide the best meals, and they're on the edge of, like, wow, this is just, like, it can't get any better. And then what do we get to after that? Now we got people modifying plants, modifying, like, the actual ingredients and the structure of the ingredients, and then pairing those ingredients with other ingredients that are scientifically supposed to be proven to taste good together, or have a high likelihood that they do when you eat them. So we've definitely strayed pretty, out there when it comes to what we do with food. And it's super interesting because especially in the States and in countries that are hopefully doing well, people are like eat such great food. And I started to think, well, the food is definitely a reflection of the culture in some way too, right? If you have like ubiquitous food and you have like, you can go to the store and like get a steak at any point, or get almost like any food that you want, that from your culture at any point, that's a big reflection of like your culture on you. You're probably used to eating like what you want when you want, and even if you're poor, you're still used to eating somewhat what you want. And if it's not that, you probably have food. Like most of the time, at least here in America, like most people have food. And I believe that's the case for, well, I'm not going to say most countries, but I mean, people got to live with food some way, they got to eat something. So people around the world, they got food too. And it makes you think how just they have to go and like they have markets for food, and people are like cooking food, and they have to actually, like, one person can only make so many, and then you have a group of guys and they can make this like 10 times as much food, but there's a limit. And then you come here to America and we got factories of just like hamburgers, and it's like the same sauce, it's the same patties, just printed out basically to give to the masses. And it's a reflection, because we buy quote unquote the best or the cheapest product, and all the small guys like usually can't compete with that. And it's really noticeable, because a lot of the restaurants that you go to now aren't, I would say most are not mom and pop, and they're going to be like a corporation. So it's really interesting on how it reflects on us as people. And so we have these big companies going and making food for us, right? And we know they don't have the best interest in mind for us. Like, come on, you're gonna sit here and tell me McDonald's has the best interest for me? KFC, these places, like, they really care about us, or they care about their profits and their margins and, owning land and making more money. Like, obviously they care about that more. So now we're getting to the point where not only is food like cooked to be good, it's cooked to be addicting. It's cooked to the point where it's like you don't want to go out and eat something else because you don't feel good, and it doesn't, satisfy those same dopamine receptors that we have from before. It doesn't do it justice. You can't just always eat a plate of rice anymore, because those fries are hot and fresh and oily and salty and crunchy and then soft in the middle. It's like, that's crazy. Like, that's what you're competing against. Like, you can't even eat a plate of food anymore, because when you eat a bowl of cereal versus like you go eating out is so much better. Of course you're going to want to spend your money over there. So it shows how we're selling the taste of something generally over the quality here in America. And I feel like that's also reflected in a lot of our products. We try to sell the lifestyle or like the pleasure that you get in the moment over the actual quality of the object, and it shows us, it's like a window into like every day we eat these like crappy foods that aren't good for us. Well, that shows through all the other things that we consume or enjoy, So, excuse me, we have all these great foods that are just super delicious, made for us to keep buying. And it made me think, at what point did food start comforting you? At what point did food turn to be good, Like, we have bad food through history, and then at a certain point, people just start getting like pretty decent food where you want to go out and eat, where it's like you don't just go out to eat when you're hungry. No, it's not something to do because it's so good, which is like crazy within itself. We have food so good that it's not just energy anymore. No, it's an experience, it's enjoyment. And it really shows us just how far we've gone and how we're manipulating that to our own benefit. So we're manipulating the experience of food to the point, like I said, it's not just energy. This is like an addicting product that we just want to crave and get more and more and more of, you know? I'm not going to name any names, but from what I've heard with my friends, which is not reliable at all, but what I've heard with my friends, they say like a lot of these companies are putting like actually addictive things like into their food, and the recipes and the actual ingredients themselves are now made to be addicting. So it really makes you think, are we like, how is that affecting us mentally? We have foods that are comforting, so instead of me going out and like bettering myself, I just chomp down more on the chips. It's like, well, like that's gonna affect society one way or another. You can say it's not, you can act like it doesn't, but the effects are gonna be there. And I think that's where you really gotta recognize it, because if you don't, it's just, I don't know how much farther in the, let's just profit from food and society can sustain that. Because I think it's like one part in everything that it's just gonna hurt us more in the end. Now, what I'm not saying is to make food taste like just absolute garbage and we're basically eating out of the trash now and we're not living life right. No, what I'm saying is I think we should put our focus on our food product somewhere else besides like taste and experience with like actual quality. And I also believe when we do that, it's not like people are just not going to eat anymore. They're going to be well, obviously they can't, but they're not going to not be happy just because they're not eating fries anymore. Like, no, I think you can make great meals, and I think other countries prove that very well, that people are happy with like natural good ingredients from like places that are sustainable, and it's just interesting to me. Anyways, that's gonna be the video. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I wanted to say thank you for listening. If you enjoy this content, subscribe, leave a comment, like. If you don't like, dislike. And yeah, I appreciate it, and have a good day.